Hey guys, it's Alyssa with Ales and Asanas, bringing you another 30-minute class. Today we're going to get you moving and grooving and twisting to make our way into side crow. Side crow, I think, is a lot of fun. It's an inversion, but I know there are a lot of people who find inversions a little bit scary and maybe a bit intimidating. So we'll break it down for you today. We'll make sure you're nice and warmed up to get ready to do that pose. In the meantime though, I won't be sipping on beer today because with that twisting and getting your head below your hips and your heart, drinking a beer along the way doesn't always feel too good on your tummy when you're doing that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna enjoy my beer after class. Leave me a note in the comments what you may be enjoying today, maybe what your favorite local brewery is. And cheers to you guys. Thanks for being here. Give us a like, give us a subscribe so that we can bring you more content, and hopefully you're enjoying our classes and, you know, maybe enjoying a beer or two along the way. So thanks everyone. Enjoy. We'll start laying down on our backs. Have your feet as wide as your mat and your knees falling into touch. And just close your eyes, place both hands on your belly. Not having to do a whole lot of work here, just feeling those points of your body that are in contact with the mat, just feeling them resting heavy, letting gravity do the work here. And taking this brief moment just to tune in, check in with yourself. Notice where your mind is at, notice how your body's been feeling. Take a deep breath in. As you inhale, feel those points of your body creating more pressure on the mat. And exhale, let it all go. Inhale, breathing in, and in. Exhale, let it go. Maybe even press that belly button down towards the spine. One more time, a big breath in, and in. This time, open your mouth, exhale, let it go, sigh it out if you need to. Keep your feet wide, but bring your knees apart. And then bring your arms beside you, creating a U shape or a goalpost shape, letting the shoulders stay rested on the mat, the backs of the hands rested on the mat. Take a deep breath in, and on your exhale, let both knees drop over to the right. So you can either keep looking straight up at the ceiling, or if it feels okay, you can turn your head to look towards the left hand. We want both shoulders to be touching the mat, the backs of the hands touching the mat, the palms are facing up, and just gently starting to warm up the hips and warm up the spine. Start to turn your head towards center and bring those knees back to center. Your hips should not have shifted too much, but if you need to readjust yourself to bring yourself back to the center of the mat, do what you got to do. Then take a deep breath in, and on your exhale, let both knees fall to the left. Same thing, we want both shoulders to still be on the mat. And you can either keep looking straight up at the ceiling, or if it feels okay, turn your head to look towards the right. The breath here is pretty calm, pretty shallow. Don't need to be ramping up too much breath here, but do take note of how that breath is moving through your body. Bring your head back to center. Bring those knees back to center. Hug your knees into your chest, squeeze them in nice and tight, maybe even rock a little bit side to side. Really get those thighs squeezing towards the belly, flattening out the spine, getting rid of that curve in the lower part of the back, the lumbar. And then starting to rock and roll front to back the length of your spine. Pick up some momentum and rock yourself all the way up. Bring yourself around to hands and knees, aka tabletop. So tabletop, we want those palms to be flat and the fingers spread apart. That's also going to be very important later when we come into our side crow. Remembering that anytime we're on our hands, that's our base, and the wider your base, the more support you have. Let's flow through 2 rounds of cat-cow. On your inhale, hips and gaze go up. And on your exhale, arch up, drawing the belly button up and tucking the chin towards the chest like a cat. Inhale, hips and gaze go up. Exhale, drawing up, really pressing those hands down, chin to chest. Flatten out the back, nice and neutral. Tuck the toes, lift the hips, make your way into a downward dog. Same thing here, we're on our hands, so we want those palms to be flat, the fingers spread apart. Maybe even noticing and creating a little bit of activation into the pads of each of those 10 fingers. And whatever feels nice for you here, I like to sway my hips a little bit side to side, lengthening down each leg. Some people like to bend one knee at a time. Maybe if you have tight hamstrings, both knees are bent and that booty's way up in the air. Wherever you are, the chest is pressing back towards the thighs. The palms are flat, of course. Shoulders rolling away from the ears, and we are breathing. Now this is a place where you should be ramping up your breath. Really get that energy going, get that internal heat going. Take one more deep breath in, and then open your mouth. Exhale, let it go. Sigh it out if you need to. Walk your feet to meet your hands at the top of the mat. Take a big breath in, lift and flatten out the spine, creating a nice tabletop here. So you may want to totally straighten your legs if you have that mobility. If your hamstrings are a little tight, then yeah, you can keep a bend in your knees here. What we're looking for that's a little more important in this particular pose is that nice flat back and lengthening all the way out through the crown of the head. Hands are to your legs. Unless you are, again, pretty open in the hamstrings, maybe your fingers are all the way down by your toes. Wherever you are, take one more big breath in, and then exhale, fold over the legs. Let the upper body hang heavy, sway side to side. Try to release some of that tension in your neck, wiggling your head side to side like you're saying yes, and then like you're saying no. And then bending into those knees. Drop the tailbone under, let the crown of the head be the last thing to make its way up as you roll up vertebrae by vertebrae, making your way up to standing. Once you get there, roll your shoulders back, stand up nice and tall and proud, lift up the toes, spread them apart, give them some space. Tuck the tailbone under slightly, pull the ribs towards the hip bones. So we don't want to be splaying out here, tuck everything right into the midline. Find a focus point in front of you, your drishti. Really zone in on that. Notice here how the body and the breath have already shifted just in these few little poses. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, let it go. On your next inhale, sweep your arms high overhead, reaching up, looking up, lengthening through the fingers. And exhale, lead with the chest as you fold over your legs. It's okay if you have a bend here if you're not quite warmed up yet. Inhale, lift and lengthen, flatten out that back, hands to legs. Exhale, release. Plant the hands flat, step back to a high plank. Let's hold this high plank for a moment. Palms are flat, fingers spread apart. We are active through those feet and through the heels. And energetically, the toes and the wrists are pulling towards each other to create a nice activation all the way through our core. And we're lifted through the shoulders. Start to bend the elbows back as you lower down to your belly for a count of 3, 2, hug those elbows in, and 1. Untuck the toes, place the palms right under the shoulders, pressing into the feet and into the hands. Inhale, lift your chest, Cobra. Really press those feet down, hug the elbows in towards the ribs. This is another thing that's gonna play an important part in our crow later, hugging those elbows in. One more inhale, maybe lift a little higher. Exhale, release down, and press back, child's pose. Bring those knees nice and wide, forehead down. Reach those arms out in front of you. And let's make this a nice active child's pose. So really press into those fingertips, engaging into those fingers. The elbows and the forearms are lifted off of the mat. Take a deep breath in and exhale, let it go. Start to flatten those palms down. Come through tabletop for just a moment as you untuck your toes, lift your hips, and make your way back into downward dog. One breath in, one breath out, and then walk your feet to meet your hands at the top of the mat. Inhale, lift and lengthen, flatten out the spine. Exhale, release and fold. Inhale, sweep yourself upright to standing, reach those arms high overhead, lengthen through the fingers. And on your exhale, dive right into it and fold over the legs, leading with your chest. Inhale, lift and lengthen, flatten out the back. Exhale, release. Plant the hands, step back to your plank, hold that plank. Palms flat, fingers spread apart. Practice pressing into those fingertips. Give yourself a little bit of an activation here. Shoulders shift forward slightly as you lower down towards a low push-up. You can drop your knees if you need it. On your inhale, press into your hands, lift your hips, lift your chest, upward dog. And exhale, bring it back, downward dog. Let's do 2 rounds of breath here. So take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. An inhale and an exhale. Lift the right leg up in the air. Weight should be even in both of your hands here. Legs should be nice and active with those toenails pointing down towards the mat. If you find them pointing off to the side, got to get those hips nice and square. Stay here and rock this 3-leg dog. Come along and build a little strength. Come forward to a plank, tap that knee to the outside of the right tricep, and then bring it back, 3-leg dog. Squeeze the heel up towards the ceiling, and then with control, step that right foot to meet the right thumb. Back heel stays lifted. Lengthen onto the fingertips so you have a nice tall spine. And then from here, keep the left fingers down on the mat and inhale, twisting open towards the right, reaching the right arm overhead. We have a little bit of a scissor action in our hips here, so that means the right hip guides back and the left hip guides forward. Reach up, look up all the way at that right thumb. One more big breath in, reach and lengthen. Exhale, bring the hand down. Engage your belly, inhale, sweep the arms and torso up, high crescent lunge. If you feel a little unsteady here, walk that front foot a little wider, creating a wider base. And really root into that back foot at the back of your mat. You should have a nice active leg as opposed to maybe a bent knee here. When you really activate through that foot, you're fully active through that right leg, and that's going to help keep you stable. Take a deep breath in. Imagine your spine lengthening and growing taller. And on your exhale, twist your chest open towards the right, reaching those arms wall to wall for water wheel. Our lower body has not moved, just the upper body is twisting. If you can, turn your head to look back at that right thumb. One more round of breath here. And then bring yourself back to center for your crescent lunge. From here, bring your arms into eagle. Bring the left arm on top, crossing elbow to elbow. Bend those arms, press the shoulders down, but let the elbows and fingers root up. Feel that opening of the backs of the shoulders and the traps. Think about elevating the chin, elevating the chest. Yes, maybe your legs are burning, but we're almost there, I promise. One more round of breath. And then start to draw the elbows down towards that right thigh. Come onto that right foot, lift the back foot off the mat for a little variation of balancing warrior 3. It's okay to have a bend in that standing leg. The back toes are pointing down towards the mat. Want to keep nice square legs. Shoulders away from the ears. Then from here, to unwrap those arms, sweep them behind you like a Superman and elevate the chest. Give yourself a nice slope in the spine there. One more inhale, one more exhale. Bend into that standing leg. Drop the back foot at the back of the mat. Take a deep breath in, lengthen the spine, reach up, elevate the chest. Exhale, bring those hands down. Step it back, downward dog. One breath in and one breath out. Lift the left leg up in the air. Weight should be even in both of those arms. Left toes pointing down towards the mat. Stay here or come along for the ride. Come forward to a high plank. Tap that knee to the outside of the left tricep. And bring it back, three-leg dog. With control, step that foot to meet the thumb. And lengthen onto those fingertips, creating a nice long spine. Both feet are rooted and planted. Keep the right fingers down on the mat. Inhale, twist that chest open, reach the left arm high up in the air. Look all the way up with that left thumb. Think about scissoring those hips. So left hip guiding back, right hip guiding forward. One more inhale, lengthen and reach. Exhale, bring that hand down. Engage your belly. Inhale, sweep your arms and torso up. So we have our crescent on the other side. Again, if you need some more stability, you can widen that base, bring that front foot a little wider. We're rooting into both feet. Hip bones and shoulders are facing directly in front of you, so no twisting of the body here. Hip bones, shoulder bones shooting straight forward. Take a deep breath in, lengthen the spine, and on your exhale, twist the chest open to the left. Water wheel. If you can turn your head to look back at that left thumb, turn your gaze back at the hand, reaching, lengthening fingertip to fingertip. On your next inhale, bring it back to center. And then start to bring the arms into eagle. This time the right arm comes on top, elbow to elbow. Press the shoulders down, lift the elbows and fingers up. Maybe loosen some of that tension in your jaw. Fingers are rising high. Maybe you lean back, drop the head back slightly. And then from here, start to lower those elbows down towards that left thigh. Come on to that front foot, lift the back foot off the mat. We have our balancing warrior. Keep the shoulders away from the ears. That lifted leg is active, the toes are pointing down at the mat. Use your belly for stability here, engage that core. Then from here, unravel the arms, sweep them beside you, lift the chest. Nice slope in the back. One more inhale. And on your exhale, bend into the standing leg. Drop that foot towards the back of the mat. Plant it strong. Inhale as you root to rise, lifting high. Exhale, bring those hands down. Step back, downward dog. A big breath in, a big breath out. Bring your feet to meet your hands at the top of the mat. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, release and fold. Inhale, sweep yourself upright to standing. Reach those arms high overhead. This time, press the pelvis forward. Reach the arms high and then try to get those biceps back by the ears. You lengthen, reach, lift the chin. Give yourself a little back bend. Draw yourself upright and fold over the legs. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, release. Plant your hands, step back to your high plank. You can drop the knees if you need it. Wherever you are, those shoulders shift forward slightly. Hug the elbows in as you lower down towards your low push-up. Inhale, Cobra, or maybe up dog. And exhale, bring it on back. Downward dog. One breath in, one breath out. Lift the right leg up in the air. Palms are flat, weight is even in both hands. Stay here or come along for the ride. If you're coming along for the ride, come forward to a plank. Tap that knee to the outside of the left elbow so we're twisting. Use those obliques. Unwind, come back, three-leg dog. With control, step that foot to meet the right thumb. Our back heel's lifted. We're coming into Crescent Lunge again, so engage your belly. Inhale, reach your arms up high. Press your palms together overhead, and then lower those hands so your thumb is right in your chest. As you inhale, imagine that spine lengthening and growing taller. And on your exhale, bring that left elbow to the outside of the right thigh. Press that arm into the thigh to help engage and expand the twist here. I want to try to keep those thumbs right in the middle of the chest. Bring your gaze up over that right shoulder. One more inhale. One more exhale. Turn your gaze down at your big toe. Engage your belly. Root strong in that foot, pressing actively into the back of that arm, and step that left foot to the front of the mat to meet its friend. Drop the booty down. We are in a twisting chair. So mostly our upper body has not moved at all here. We want to keep those hips nice and square. Make sure the knees are side by side. Maybe you peek up at that right shoulder for the full extension of the twist. One more inhale. Exhale, unwind to center. Take a deep breath in as you stand up. Reach the arms up high. And exhale, fold over your legs. Walk your feet about hips distance. Let your upper body hang heavy. Shake your head a little bit. Let go of any tension. Good. And then bend your knees and come down into a squat. So I'm going to face you this way. Now is when we are going to give crow a try. Here's some things that are really important for your crow pose. We want those palms to be wide and the fingers spread apart, like we've been saying throughout some of these other poses. So palms flat, fingers spread apart, and think about activating those pads of each finger that create almost like a suction cup with your hands. The other thing that's going to be really important is your gaze. Keep your gaze looking forward towards the front of your mat. If you start to look behind you and your neck curves, it will create a forward tumbling type sensation. Don't worry, you're like 2 inches off the mat. If you fall, you fall. It's not going to hurt. You can even prop yourself up with some couch pillows if it gives you some confidence. But keeping your gaze forward keeps a long spine and will keep you lifted and help you with your balance. So, come into a squat. Our lower body is not going to move. Our upper body will rotate to the right and then plant those hands about 6 to 12 inches away from your foot. Now the other thing that's going to be really essential here is keeping those elbows hugging in. If you let them come out to the side, you won't maintain your strength. Keep those elbows in, just like through our chaturanga. The elbows will bend back, creating a shelf, and then this whole side of our leg is just going to rest right on those elbows. Palms flat, fingers spread apart. Start to play with shifting the weight forward onto your hands, keeping that gaze looking out in front of you. Once you're ready, start to tuck the heels up towards your hips. And when you're ready, you're flying. See how many breaths you can hold here. And then gently release the feet down. Come on back. Lower down into a child's pose. Bring those knees wide, forehead in front of you. Reach those arms long. Steady the breath, steady the heartbeat. You are in control here. Take a deep breath in. Open your mouth, exhale, let it go. Anything you're hanging on to, any doubts, any criticisms from that pose. But don't worry, we're going to give it a try again. Other side, start to come into downward dog. And from here, lift the left leg up in the air. Rock your three-leg dog or build some strength with us by coming forward, giving yourself a twist, tapping that knee to the outside of the right elbow. Unwind, come back, three-leg dog. Squeeze that heel up towards the ceiling. And then with control, step that foot to meet the left thumb. Engage your belly, inhale, sweep your arms and torso up. We have our crescent on the other side. Same thing, if you need to adjust the stance of your feet, make yourself nice and steady here, you know where we're going. Bring the palms together overhead, lower the hands to the heart. As you inhale, lengthen that spine, and on your exhale, twist to the left and bring that right elbow to the thigh. Use the back of that arm as leverage to help lift and lengthen the spine, and turn your head to look up at the left elbow. One more inhale, one more exhale. Turn your gaze to look down at that big toe. Root strong into that left foot, root into the backs of the arms. And with control, step that back foot towards the front of the mat, bending both knees, sinking down into a twisting chair. Hips should be super low here. Take a peek at your knees. Make sure your knees are side by side. We're still actively pressing into the back of the arm. Maybe we're peeking up at the left shoulder. One more inhale. Exhale, unwind back to center. And then inhale, stand it up, reach it high. Exhale, fold over the legs. Walk your feet a little bit wide. Let your body hang heavy, shake the head, let go of any of that tension in your neck. Breathe it in and breathe it out. And then bring those feet a little closer together. Bend your knees down, come on into your squat. We'll work on side crow on the other side. So same thing, our keys are palms flat, fingers spread apart. Try to activate the pads of the fingers like little suction cups. Keep the gaze in front of you. Find that focus point. Lower body stays exactly as it is. The upper body will rotate. Plant those hands down. Bend the elbows back, creating that shelf that your leg is going to rest on. Keep the elbows hugging in. Don't let them splay out. Hug them in nice and tight. Start to move your upper body towards those hands. Rest the side of the leg on the elbows. Keep the gaze lifted and out in front of you. From here, if you just play with shifting that weight and that's as far as you go, that's a-okay. When you're ready, you can start to lift the feet and hug the heels up towards your glutes. Maybe you can hold a little longer than I just did, but wherever you are, if you want to pause and try to practice a little bit more, by all means, go ahead. Wherever you are, come on down, make your way into child's pose. Reach those arms out in front of you. Calming the mind, calming the breath. And perhaps even just paying a little bit of attention of what your internal dialogue is here. Did you talk yourself out of that pose? Were you excited about that pose? Did you beat yourself up for maybe not feeling like you did it correctly? Are you going to try it over and over and over and over again until you get it right? Just knowing that there's no right or wrong dialogue, but paying attention to how you talk to yourself and work yourself through something challenging. Take a big breath in. Exhale, let it go. Start to press into your hands to lift yourself up. And then sit off to one side. Bring those legs around in front of you. If you need a sip of water, take a sip of water. If that was really stressful and you need a sip of beer, take a sip of beer. No big deal. Life's all about balance, right? Wherever you are, scoot your hips forward slightly, bend your knees so your feet plant down on the mat. And then gently roll yourself onto your back. We'll come just through 2 rounds of bridge pose to keep extending the spine, neutralizing the spine in a nice even position here instead of all that twisting. So walk your heels nice and close to your hips. Your arms are beside you with the palms down. Take an inhale, lift your hips off of the mat. Let the chin be away from the chest. And make sure you keep looking straight up at the ceiling. Try not to move your head side to side here. We really want to protect the neck, those smaller vertebrae there. Take one more inhale. Maybe you lift your hips a little higher. Exhale, gently release down. 1 breath in, 1 breath out. We'll come through another round. So feet are about hips distance. Those heels are nice and close to your hips. Arms beside you with the palms down. Root into the feet and into the backs of the arms. Inhale, lift your hips up. If you'd like a little more this time, maybe you interlace your fingers by your tailbone and roll onto the heads of your shoulders, really extending the chest, opening up the collarbone. Nice heart opener here. We continue to root down through the feet to lift up through the hips. Chin is away from the chest, letting that air circulate. 1 more big breath in. And exhale, gently release the hips down. Walk the feet wide. Let the knees fall into touch. Close your eyes, hands on your belly. And just like we started this session, noticing the different points of the body that are in contact with the mat. Letting gravity do all the work here. Let this be your rest. Let this be your version of Shavasana for today. And just noticing as hands gently rise and fall with each round of breath. Take a big breath in and in. Open your mouth, exhale, let it go. Roll on to the side of your body, gently and mindfully. And then using your hands, press into the mat to lift yourself up. Making your way into an easy seated position, crossing the legs, sitting up nice and tall, wiggling the booty down. Press your palms together, let those thumbs sit on your chest. As you inhale, feel the hands rise. As you exhale, feel them lower. Kudos to you for taking time in your day. Hopefully you're proud of yourself for trying a side crow. Keep practicing. Tag us in any photos, ails and asanas, and extending our gratitude wherever you may be, near and far. The badass in me honors and recognizes the badass in each of you. Namaste. Thanks, everyone.